So moving in, some of the topics we're going to cover August, migration update, made a lot of progress there. Emblem Markets, Emblem Vision, Televault, which is a new announcement, really cool application, interoperability growth, September, and then the expansion project. So what happened in August? The media, so the Emblem Morning Show, what we're doing right now, we had a large slew of very popular guests, including David Bailey from the Bitcoin conference. We had on the Arch Network, Mike in Space, the Bob team. Charlie Spears was here. Jack Liu was here talking about bells. The Counterparty founder, Adam Krellenstein, was here. Shaban, the founder, Spells of Genesis, OpNet, and the Bitcoin OS team and BetBTC, including a handful of others. A very large and awesome a slate of people. Also, I added here our team appearances so you guys can follow along the progress of Adam, myself, or anybody on the team going on other shows, including the Built on Bitcoin show by Jacob, the Ordinal Revolution. I watched part of that yesterday, Adam. That was a good show. Adam and I were on a few spaces. Adam was crushing it this week with shows, man. Give me a little bit of your experience with, or tell me your thoughts on the Ordinal Revolution show. I think that was the biggest one of all of them.
Yeah, those guys are fun. It's interesting, you know what? And this is why the thing about like conferences, you kind of forget about them because I don't know, it's maybe just you did a couple things, but like going to that Bitcoin Nashville conference, amazing, man. And the amazing ones, you know, I was able to go to the Litecoin side event, you know, mini conference type of thing. Just met all these people, right? And when they heard, first of all, they kind of know about Emblem Vault, but they don't really know. And, you know, you just realize there's whole swaths of crypto that are just so siloed that people are they want to learn and they want to know about new stuff. And so, yeah, it was amazing to be up there and obviously met just so many awesome, cool people who have these shows focused on whatever, Litecoin or ordinals or whatever. And it's great to be able to just expand what these guys know about and understand that Emblem Vault is going to just be this huge part of all of this. And so, yeah, it's always exciting, man.
Yeah, I have some notes on that later. I listened to the Ordinal Revolution, and at the end of the show, they noted that both of us have just an immense amount of knowledge because we interact with all of these communities, and you get to learn, you know, all about the variations between all these proof of work and POS chains, mostly proof of work, but really, really exciting. So from the development standpoint, I have the legacy migration information next. Did a ton there. Probably our largest month of progress yet. We added a bunch of Emblem Markets features, more to come. Emblem Vision still being worked on. And then our two internal tools are Emblem Explorer. This is a tool that we use to track vaults. So this is like basically what's inside of a vault and all the different stats. This is something that'll eventually be open sourced in Emblem 2.0. And then our Emblem dashboard, this is how we mint smart contracts or deploy smart contracts for all these curated collections. That will also be a standalone product sometime in the future, something similar to like Manifold. Like on Manifold, if you ever use it, you go and deploy your own smart contract. We'll have something similar to that for cross-chain collections in the future. Not something immediate, but something that will be there. And then partnerships, Televault, which we'll have a slide on in a little bit. And then layer 2 expansion. We have a lot of stuff going on there in the background. So moving on to tracking the migration. You can see up here at the top, the completed migrations. So I'm going to go through this for those that aren't watching. Age of Chains, Age of Rust, Bitcoin, BitGirls, Memory Chain, Oasis Mining, Saratobi, Bitcoin Apes, Bitcoin Punks, Filthy Fiat, Doge Party, .bitdomains, .ids, Blockheads, Twitter eggs, and Puny codes. The assets for all of these have all been moved over. So what collections still remain in the Emblem Legacy collection, known as the V1 collection? Fake Rares, Force of Will, Rare Pepe, Spells of Genesis, Megapunks, and then our general collections, Bitcoin Ordinals, Bitcoin Stamps, Counterparty Namecoin, Litecoin, Emblem Open. The general collections, these are for, I guess you call them non-categorized assets. So from the collections that I just said, these all have specific assets, right? So within the Age of Chains collections, only Age of Chains cards, right? In the Bitcoin collections, only Bitcoin. but there's still a lot of other assets that exist on all these blockchains. So these will all be moved to the generalized collections alongside any vault of that protocol that has multiple assets inside. So what do I mean by this? I'll use the counterparty collection, for example. If your vault has a fake rare, a rare Pepe, and a Bitcoin, that's going to get moved into the counterparty collection because there's no way for us to basically say, hey, which collection should this go in? Because some people value different assets for different reasons. Some value assets not just for its value, right? Some value it for its nostalgia or personal reasons, which is hard to believe in this space because most people just care about the number, but it's not always the case on some of these protocols. We will be enabling something though. Let's say we move one of your rare Pepes and it has a high value rare Pepe and like a lesser valuable XCP asset. Maybe it's non-categorized. We will be enabling a jump feature to where you can actually opt to move that vault from counterparty to rare Pepe. So don't have any fears. You will have the opportunity to literally self-migrate it, but we're calling it jump, to the jump feature. Some statistics, we've migrated about 35,000 vaults since we started last year. There's somewhere around 8,000 remaining. And this is a crazy stat that I just saw recently. Of all the collections that are vaulted, there's about 450 unique collections that exist across or that was inside of the Emblem Legacy collection. This just goes to show like how difficult it's really been. There is a ton of variable collections. Yes, rare Pepe and some of these collections make up, 50% of it or so. But if there's a builder who comes in and he's an artist and he vaults, 10 pieces of their art collection in the Emblem Legacy collection, that's considered a collection, right? Because it is a collection to the artist, but maybe it's not a collection to everybody else. So these are the kind of edge cases that we've had to really focus on, which has extended some of the time, but we're really close there. The steps of what's remaining here: move these remaining 8,000 assets over. Once these assets are all moved over and we feel comfortable with where it's at, we're going to add vaulting, unvaulting, and jump support. So right now you can't mint into the Saratobi collection. I know I've had literally like 10 people reach out to me about wanting to vault their Saratobis. Most of them, I think a lot of people have very large ninja suit bags is kind of what it sounds like. But you'll be able to vault into all these collections. I've actually had a request for most of these: Age of Chain, Bitcoin, Memory Chain, Oasis Mining, Saratobi. I've got all requests for those. So that will be available, including the jumping feature as well, which I mentioned. And then we're going to update the metadata, which is like the larger refresh, adding traits. I do believe we have most traits that have been given to us for the counterparty collection. So there will be some traits there. And then allowing the not minted vaults to mint into the V2 collections. What this basically means is there's a lot of people before the migration that created, I'll use fake rares in this example because I think that's the most. There's a lot of people who created fake rare vaults, loaded the vaults, and then never actually minted those. And so there's, hundreds to thousands of these that exist that are just waiting to be minted. So that'll be done at the end. And once that's complete, then it's done. We're finally on to the V2 world. Adam, what's your thoughts of this, I guess 13-month process so far?
I think one thing to keep in mind, I know it can get confusing, is the main reason why we're not, if you have multiple assets in the same vault, the main reason is that so people don't accidentally sell a vault thinking it's just one thing. So if you just had if you had a ninja suit and then another Saratobi asset or another asset in that vault, and you sold it and you thought it was just a ninja suit, but it was actually other stuff, you'd probably be pissed. So the main reason is that, just to provide a little context. But yeah, this is one of those things. It's like you start on something and then you realize, like, there's so many. When you get up into the 50,000 vaults or how many we have, numbers that big don't make sense for humans. Human brains cannot process. And so I don't think anybody, certainly none of us, realize the complexity of this. And so we've learned now. We know now how complex this is, and it's interesting and incredible. And for us, it strengthened our system because now we have all these metadata, all this information, and all this sort of stuff. So we're better off for it. But boy, it was painful for sure. But it's nice to be coming to the end right now.
Dude, Emblem's almost a metadata company at this
Dude,
point.
I'm telling it's almost like I'm telling you, there will be like, are we gonna we've chatted, Jake and I have chatted about it before. It's like, there will be a metadata company in Web3. Should we just be a metadata company? Because this is like what it is. It's like we realize how complex this is. And so anybody who wants to build stuff, anything like this in the future, or anything where they're pulling in multiple collections from multiple chains, a huge issue is metadata. Who's going to provide it? How do you get it? How do you get access to it? There's a definite need. So if somebody wants to spin up that company, it's probably a good idea.
Dude, probably a large unicorn waiting, to be honest. That'll be us. Will be a side project, I suppose. So this slide, I said Emblem Markets presents the trading activity. Just a little bit of, a disclaimer here. I think the large majority of these assets so far are being listed on OpenSea, and then probably purchased through Emblem Markets or just purchased on OpenSea or on Blur. There's a ton of different aggregators. So from now on, when I just say Emblem Markets trading activity, it really just means all vaults trading activity, because we're still in the building process of Emblem Markets, which I'll get into here for a second. With that being said, this last month we had about 200 ETH in volume across about 16 different collections. And the top ones here, Rare Pepe had 876 sales. And also this information was updated last night, so there could have been a few more sales this morning. Rare Pepe, 876 sales, 96 ETH in total volume. Actually, there was a point during this month a few days ago where Rare Pepe had the most sales of any art collection across all blockchains. It was literally the most transacted art collection in the industry. I think, which just goes to show, how popular Rare Pepe is and, how precious it really is to the community. It's actually probably now in the top 3 collections by market cap. So our goal then is to, really kind of extend that and ensure that those stats are available on Emblem Markets over time as we scale. Spells of Genesis also did a lot of work this month. 303 sales, 54 ETH in volume. It was also in the top 10 in art sales across. I had a few people reach out and ask if we should classify it into gaming. It's possible. I don't really know for sure. I just put it as art because I don't think these cards are really being used in the game anymore. Emblem Open, 4 sales, 46 ETH. There was a Nakamoto sale down here, which I noted at the bottom. And then 2 assorted vaults. One vault had 50 Gox cards, was sold for 5 ETH. It's a hell of a deal. Yep. And then one vault was sold. One vault had 100 shitcoin card for 5 ETH. And then there was an assorted vault that had like 25 or 30 different Spells of Genesis cards in it that sold for 5 ETH. So somebody was putting up some numbers. Saratobi, 6 sales with 12 ETH. I believe there was 4 Ninja Suit sales and a few various ones. Fake Rares, 89 sales and 10 ETH in volume. And then Embells on the comeback this month.
Bro, the tear. Look at that, man. 633 sales, bro. Embells. People snapping them up at $5 or whatever they were, man. That was funny, dude.
They're seeing it. It may not be the first 10K, but it was definitely the first 10K on Bell's coin that was available. That's for certain. When we did that crazy vault pad mint at the beginning of the year, and everyone got mad at us because we did an art sale of a PFP. So there's about 3.2 ETH in a volume there. So they're still cheap. It's still there. And Bells will still be around, and Bell's coin has been trending. So the top sales of this month, a Nakamoto card sold for 38 ETH. That was the top sale. 3 Satoshi cards sold this month for around 10 ETH each. And then an FD card was accepted into a bid for 10 ETH. So still the top collections in Emblem. Emblem Market updates. We had 6 pull requests merged this month. A merge request is just basically a feature. If you guys know, Bunsy's been working with us this entire way for Emblem Markets, and we have some priorities that we've given him and that we're working with him together. So this will be hopefully finished by the end of this upcoming month. An improvement to the UI UX on certain areas. Definitely had a big learning experience over the last 2 months, just seeing the transaction flow on Emblem Markets and then looking at other marketplaces and seeing, is this too wordy? Are the edges too straight here? Right, the color, is this highlighted? Is this a WebSocket? It's been a crazy learning experience. A profile page, we're going to update the search bar, the collections table. It's been broken and it's waiting to be approved. So that will be nice. That's when you go to the collections page and all the statistics and everything of all these different collections that'll be updated here probably in the next few days. And then the asset pages. So those are our priorities there. And moving on to Emblem.Vision presents the vaulting activity. So think of it this way: Emblem Markets is where the trading activity happens, and then Emblem Vision is where the vault minting happens. We had a huge increase in vault activity this month. 771 total vaults minted. That's almost 100% month over month from last month. I believe we had around 400 minted last month and almost 800 this month. Total unvaults. So these are assets that are leaving the ecosystem. It's important to also track this as well. 92 unvaults, which is about a 20% increase month over month. Some of the featured collections of this, almost 800 vaults minted, 566 of them were Rare Pepe, 206 of them were Spells of Genesis, and 28 of them were fake rares. So it was almost all of them, or the large majority of them, have been between these 3 to 4 collections. Emblem Vision, the platform itself, we're still working on one final bug that needs to be fixed, which has to do with vaulting and unvaulting. Once that's fixed, then this is ready to go, ready to be used. Some other things that we're working on immediately on Emblem Vision: the bulk minting tool is a high priority. The bulk minting tool is what we used for this migration process. So you'll be able to mint, I believe, up to 25 vaults in a single transaction. We have the UI and the UX designed, and the backend tool is built. It just needs to be put together in the order of our operations. You will also be able to bulk unvault as well, right? And you'll also be able to bulk create and bulk jump. So, and this will be for ERC 721 and ERC 1155. I believe the difference here will be for ERC 721s. You can, so if I want to, here, I'll use an example here. If I want to bulk mint 20 Bitcoin punks, I could just I could just deposit them in this new interface, this simple mint interface that we're building, and this checkbox. But with ERC 1155, you'll only be able to choose one asset at a time, I believe. So because ERC 1155 is semi-fungible. So if I was a rich guy and I wanted to mint 10 Nakamoto card vaults at one time, I would have to choose a Nakamoto card, and then you're presented with 10 addresses to mint at that time. And then one other thing, we're going to have the UX match Emblem Markets. Emblem Vision, Emblem Markets were built by 2 different teams at 2 different times. And we like the Emblem Markets UI better. So we're going to make that match as well. And then the simple mint interface is also in development. This is one of our goals, is to make minting as simple as possible. So I believe we've got it down to about 4 clicks or 3 clicks with this simple mint interface. It's 4 steps and about 3 clicks. I think you guys will really enjoy this, and it'll really improve the minting experience. We have 2 business models that are changes that are coming up. A month from today, or about 31 days from today, we will be adding unvaulting and jumping fees, and this will match the minting fee. And then also the co-vault discount program will be discontinued on the same day, 30 days from now. We just want to give everyone a warning or a heads up in advance for 30 days. If this is something that you disapprove of, or you're not a big fan, then you could go ahead and unvault those for free. There's a handful of reasons why we're doing this, which I'll get into maybe now. It's also partly in the next slide. So the co-vault discount program, the reason why we're discontinuing it is that we will be offering a point system here in the near future. And this is also, I'll cover this in the expansion project slide. So removing and then we have a different form of tokenomics for Koval during this expansion project. So having the discount program still available with Koval just completely, it doesn't mix with what the future plans are for that. And then unvaulting and jumping fees, it makes it more a synonymous ecosystem where a vault interaction is where we generate fees. And then also with what we're building with Emblem 2.0, where we've actually found a way to completely decentralize the vault layer. So right now, Emblem is a one of N signer on these vaults, but we have a way to remove Emblem from that entire process. So the vaults are completely non-custodial, but with that comes an increase in costs for the server and the services that we have to use. So we need to make it synonymous across the board. I don't think this will impact most people because if you're a minter, if you're a mass minter, then you're generally minting and selling these. So you're generally not hit on both sides. And then if you're a buyer, you're generally purchasing and then leaving. Our ultimate goal really here is to make Emblem Markets a 0% marketplace fees or 0% marketplace fees. We're still in negotiations with our service provider for that. And we've really been trying to get that down. Our real goal is, we're a vaulting company and this is where we make our fees. Just like Pump.Fun is a meme coin company and they make fees on deployment of memes, we make our revenue on vaulting demand. And this also properly incentivizes us to encourage that vaulting demand, which therefore should then incentivize the token holders for when we have the expansion project live, will be a proper incentive ecosystem. Adam, any thoughts on this change to the business model or anything about just Emblem being a vaulting company?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's I think the general idea is that right now, when you come, and create a vault, you're typically bringing it onto Ethereum, right? And you're bringing it onto Ethereum probably to try and sell. Makes total sense. This works. But what we're building for is like, okay, you've brought it onto Ethereum, but now do you want to bring it onto Solana, or do you want to bring it onto Bitcoin, or do you want to bring it onto Base, right? What we're becoming is once you're in an Emblem Vault, now you're truly a multi-chain asset and you can move to any chain. That's what it will be. This time next year, I'm sure it'll be a completely different conversation about what's happening, but that's what it will be. And so to unvault, I discourage it because what you're doing is you're going to have to vault again next time you want to bring your asset to the next hot place or the next place your assets is going to be needed or rewarded or whatever. So Emblem's kind of this hub for a multi-chain future.
Yeah, and with Emblem 2.0, right, one of the risks which we encourage unvaulting, and one of the reasons why we haven't had a fee there is that Emblem is, again, one signer of multiple signers of the vault. So it's one of N. But with Emblem 2.0 and us being completely non-custodial, you have that risk removed of Emblem rugging you, which is, always a concern no matter what type of, semi-custodial ship protocol that you're in. And so with that, it removes, that risk. And so with that, then there's always going to be a reason to leave the ecosystem. Native, holding your stuff in a native wallet, it's always going to be much improved, but the security and decentralization will be much improved when that happens. And I'll cover that here in another slide. So this new announcement today, or I think it was this week, Televault, which is Emblem's first native dApp. I could not be more excited about this. It was announced by Graham Bells, who's the founder of Bellscribe. And Bellscribe is who also was our inscription service provider when we did the Mbells mint. Graham's been a very close community member to Emblem. He's a big believer in what we're doing here. He's also been kind of one of the leaders in the Bellscoin community as well. He inscribed the first Bellinals, I believe, right, Adam?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. He figured out the system. Yeah. He did.
Yes. So he's a big builder, and he kind of saw the vision that he wanted to take Bell's coin or Bell multi-chain, but also a larger vision because he also is a big Dogecoin person as well. I believe he has like a handful of sub 1,000 or sub 10,000 Dogecoin collections as well. So he saw this need for a UTXO based bridge to bridge these different types of assets. And I'll go through a list here. So this permissionless bridge is for UTXO based assets. It can be also work for proof of stake assets, but there's superior technologies currently for things like things that are EVM based. But for these assets, Bitcoin, Dogecoin, Litecoin, Bell's Coin, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, Cardano, Counterparty, BRC20, SRC20, DRC20, LTC20, just going through all of those. Runes, Dunes, Tap, etc. All of these, UTXO based assets, we're calling them, will be available for the Televault. And this is all done completely on chain. This has never been done before. There's a reason why, because it's really hard. And there's a reason why Emblem's really been the only kind of NFT bridge with any type of success, is because it's extremely difficult to do. So what's going to happen here is we'll be able to turn these cryptocurrencies and the native tokens into ERC20s. And so this is the first application that's built on Emblem Vault and leverages our SDK. There's tons of different applications that can be built using our SDK. And Frank and the D Gods pursued one earlier this year before they just went full meme coin, retardios, and now they've not pursued it. I don't know if they're coming back to it, but they're basically doing a vault swap kind of idea. There's a lot more. So I'll explain how this works. And I'm going to use Bell as an example because this is going to be the first one on the bridge. So user is going to vault a certain amount of Bell. So let's say you vault 100 Bell into the Bell's coin collection. This collection is currently live today. It's an ERC 1155 collection. The user then takes their vault of 100 Bell, and you're going to deposit it into the Televault, which is the bridge. The Televault then accepts the deposit and issues VBell on the other side. So vaulted Bell as an ERC20. And then you could take this VBell and you can take it to Ethereum and you can trade on Uniswap. You could provide LP. You could go borrow against it on Aave. You could do all the cool DeFi stuff. On the other side of this, right, redeeming it's going to be interesting to see how this works. And it'll probably take a little bit of experimentation. But we're going to implement something called a code check method for redeeming. So from my understanding, and we're still working out the final, the redemption process of this, I think there's going to be a limit of an X amount of Bell that the Televault will accept. So let's say, a bunch of people deposit 100 Bell vaults at the time. So if you come back with 400 Bell because you were trading, then if you see 100 Bell vaults, or if you see a 100, or if you see a 400 Bell vault, then you can just redeem it for that vault. And there will be a vaulting fee and an unvaulting fee, which we will be sharing with the Televault team. And so you're not charged multiple times for the same instance. We're kind of working on that together. And this product is in active development. Graham was actually accepted through ThirdWeb's startup program, the second cohort. ThirdWeb is a pretty popular kind of back-end service for crypto. Adam, what's your thoughts on this? I know the Bell's Coin community has been pretty excited about it because it brings additional liquidity to the market. So what's your thought on VBell and then just overall, UTXO bridge?
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see if people use it, right? I mean, this is the thing. It's like we think people want to have access to Bell on another chain, but do they really? I don't know. It seems they will, and certainly it's going to get a lot of attention, I'm quite sure. But this is one of those things that we talk about all the time. You don't know until you actually try it, right? It could be a hit, home run, and then we do it for literally Bitcoin and everything else, right? This is just like the trial where we get to see, well, is the market actually interested in this? People can talk about it all the time, like literally since day 2 of Bell's Coin, people have been like, when can we bridge this? Here it is. We're going to do it. Right. And then we'll get to see if the market responds to it. It's going to be really interesting. I think it's going to be interesting too, the idea of, and this is like you touched on it, this complicated aspect of it. Okay, if you make vaults of 400 or 200, or some people's going to put in 50, or they're going to put in whatever, how do you get that back out? I think the thing that to keep in mind though is you can always, if you see a list of vaults that are available, and you have 390 VBEL, and you see a vault there for 400, you can go buy those extra 10 VBEL and then go claim that vault. So there's that system, which I think should work. But again, it's got to be, we're going to have to get quite a bit of traction, I think, for liquidity and stuff to kind of allow that seamless trading experience. But hey, man, it's an experiment, and we'll see if it's successful.
Yeah, a few things here. One, we've already had a handful of people reach out to us about providing LP. So if that's something you want to do, then you can reach out to us, and we're going to try to coordinate. I think the number may change, but the goal I think would be to get at least 100K in the LP, so that people can sufficiently trade Bell and then go in and out. And, just buying a UTXO asset on chain, and the whole transaction history is completely on chain. And it's not in a multi-sig, I think it really has never been done before. You have wrapped Bitcoin, right, which is a custodial wrapped version, which is held by BitGo. And then you have bridges, which are multi-sigs that are held all in a single wallet. Whereas these, you have UTXOs and you have these different amounts that are basically in a Bell's Coin wallet, that then is vaulted and held in an escrow contract, right? So it's becoming more decentralized over time. Who knows? There could be a better solution to this. And actually, with Emblem 2.0, we actually have a version 2 that's already being thought of, which I think is a huge improvement on this. But we just got to go through the motions here first, and to see the interest. Some other people who've reached out already. I think there's maybe five or six different teams that have reached out. I know Pepe Cash, I think, is probably the most requested one that I've seen so far. And people have been reaching out to us about, turning Pepe Cash into an ERC20.
Yep.
It's got to be at least 6 months to a year at this point. So I think that may be the second one that we try. But if this is something that you're interested in, you have a token that's on any of these protocols that we listed, then please just reach out to us, and we'll make sure that happens.
And Justin Sun's not going to steal your Bitcoin. So
sorry about that. What'd you say, Adam? Sorry about
that. I was just joking that like Justin Sun's not going to take 12,000 Bitcoin or whatever. And it is an advantage, right? It's going to be transparent. People are going to be able to see it all. So I think that's really nice feature for sure.
Yeah, I just think that the transaction history being completely on chain, right? You could do that all. And there's also no wait time. One of the issues with bridges, especially like the UTXO bridges, is that it takes 3, 4, or 5 hours, sometimes a day, to get your assets redeemed for. This is literally as fast as just simple ETH transaction, and then it's yours. Moving on to the next slide, Emblem, us growing across chains. This is something we've talked about already. Bitcoin and Ethereum L2s. This product is currently in development. This is basically deploying on all the EVM-based chains, since we've deployed on Polygon already. Deploying on the other EVM chains, L2s, things like Blast or Merlin or Arbitrum or Bob, right? These type of things we want to go to. They all have specific use cases, and users just want cheaper vaults, right? Mint a lot of them for a lot cheaper. That'd be exciting. That type of combination with our bulk minting tool, where you could just mint 25 vaults to Blast, right? Pepe vaults to Blast to farm with, I think will be a cool opportunity. Or you could just jump them if you already have them vaulted. The other two main ones, Bitcoin and Solana. We actually recently started our Solana development. So that is currently in progress. I think this might actually be like one of the winning products, is just trading your ordinals on Solana. You can basically circumvent mempool sniping and just have these traded on Solana, which we listened to the ordinal show yesterday. They're talking with Robert from Satflow and his big raise about their mempool sniping tool. And it just makes me, listening to the conversation, it just sounds like mempool sniping is not going to go away. And it's only going to get worse, but the tools will be more publicly available. And he said even with OpCat, it won't be completely right. It won't be completely dismissed. It's always going to be there from, I think he said, the seller side. And so if you could just vault these on Solana with a bulk minting tool and just trade them frictionlessly, that seems to be an easy way. You'll never have to deal with mempool sniping. And it's only going to get worse for higher end assets. I've personally seen Satflow. I saw it in person. He showed it to me. The UI is pretty nice, to be honest. It's literally just like I saw it on mobile. It literally just shows you all of the NFTs essentially, or all the ordinals that are coming through, and you can literally just click on it and snipe it. So it's only going to get worse from that perspective. And people just like Solana. That's also one of our hotly requested blockchains. So we did finally start that, and hopefully we can have that out, maybe end of the year, beginning of next year. And then Emblem 2.0, this is what powers it all. This is what we're working towards. Non-custodial vaults, which is what I mentioned, removing Emblem from the entire key management position. That is, I think, the biggest key here, right? That removes all the risk and all the concerns of the system. And we have the solution. We're actually talking with the team and probably going to have that implemented here shortly. Some other components to it, open sourcing our Emblem Explorer. So this is basically, I think the implementation is still to be determined, but essentially you'll be able to see all of the transactions happening in the Emblem ecosystem, basically something like a block explorer, but for us. That makes it, again, our path is to make this as decentralized as possible. Everyone on the team has been in the crypto space or joined crypto from 2013 to 2016. And so this is something that we value very, very much. Instant cross-chain vaulting and jumping. We covered that already. And then premium vaults. This is something that people have reached out to us about. Things like having multi-sig vaults or SBT vaults, or some variation of a premium type vault, time lock vaults, etc. These can all happen within Emblem 2.0. And what's your thought about Solana? Emblem on Solana. You think it's gonna be a hitter?
You know what? It all, so much is timing in this business, man. And we talk about it all the time, where it's just like, you never know what's going to be the next thing. I mean, Solana may be dead in 6 months, you know what I mean? As far as activity goes, right? The space changes so quickly. And what I think, we talk about it all the time. It's like being ready for whatever that next thing is. I mean, obviously we have the Penguins L2 kind of coming online now. We got I don't even know, the Sony L2 spinning up. I mean, don't fade this stuff. Like, don't fade it, in that this may be where the attention goes, right? And if the attention goes to one of those, or goes to Blast, or something really clicks on base, or clicks on Solana, right? That's where we're going to be ready. And man, we talk about it all the time in our private meetings, but couldn't be more bullish about the space we're ready for now. We are ready to really, for whatever's next. And the movement of those assets to whatever's next is going to be exciting.
Pensive Shepe says we should check out Popsicle Finance. It says that they've been doing this, excuse me, for quite a while. Damn. Popsicle Finance. It looks like it's on FTM. Is it?
Yeah, bro.
It's on Phantom.
Phantom. What
Phantom. I think that was created by the Aave guy.
Yeah.
So what's going on in September? So we got about 2 slides left. Finish migration, Emblem market upgrades, launch Emblem Vision, our bulk minting tool, time lock vaults. We're going to be adding the unvaulting and jumping fees, working with Graham, and then discontinuing the co-vault discount program in preparation for the expansion project. And what is this? We covered this recently. We really recently called it Op 900K. I'm just going to call it the expansion project for now, to make it a little bit easier to digest. So it's a multi-year campaign focused on the Emblem adoption, expansion, and tokenization. This is generally something that you would call a roadmap, but here in crypto, we're calling it a project because it's going to be much more than a roadmap. Set to begin in Q4 2024. So what's on the agenda for this? expanding Emblem to leading blockchain ecosystems that we covered, incentivize community participation through token incentives and gamification, release innovative cross-chain DeFi and NFT products, which we have covered, scaling Emblem, right, and that we have also covered, and decentralizing the infrastructure. It's kind of like building the plane while you're flying, but also making sure that everyone's having fun and gaining a value from it. We have a lot of ideas, and it's been set in place. Now we just got to execute on the development to get there. So, what are the components of this? Time lock vaults, bulk features, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, and then Cobalt runes and NFTs. Going to be exciting. I can't wait for that. This will be right. I guess points will be a part of this as well. You see a lot of teams go about this in different ways. Some people just call it, season 2, season 3. It just means that the team is, preparing to add token incentives to whatever the game plan is while rewarding the community. Adam, any final thoughts on this entire presentation?
Dude, the bull run is maybe a third of the way through. Anybody who's scared that the money printer is not going to be turned on, the money printer is going to get turned on in the United States of America. And when the money printer goes crazy, asset prices rise, crypto will have a glorious bull run through 2025 and into 2025. So don't fade that. Crypto is going to have an incredible bull run. And yeah, man, none of us know what's going to be the things that really kind of click. Obviously, tons of people are building stuff. There's tons happening on Bitcoin. There's stuff happening. I mean, the amount of building in the ecosystem, I don't think I've ever seen. It's not even close. This is seems like 5x what it was in 2021. And, but what's going to be the thing that grabs attention next? Can't really say, but man, we are ready and able to hit whatever's next. It's going to be awesome, man.
That we absolutely are. And so with that, we'll see you guys in September